Here are the arteries. All right. Now, if you go back into your Canvas accounts, then what happens is you have this as a blank diagram, and you have that as a blank diagram. Because I just pulled this out of Canvas, the blank diagrams, and then I just redrew and relabeled all of this. So this looks nice and cleaner compared to the older diagram. Right? Just nicer, laid it out nicer. All right? And like I said, Deanna just did sterling work with the videos. I just pulled it in this morning, and this weekend what I'll do, I'll put it in sequence as I've done here. So when you do the artery, same thing. So you just kind of put it number 1, number 2, etc. So you're working down like that.
Okay.
All right? Or if you have the big one, just, post it into YouTube, and then I'll just stick the big one in there.
Yeah, this probably won't be the big one.
Okay, right? All right, so let's see what we have here, folks. So same as the veins, and again, what we're going to see, hopefully you've read ahead, or if you're looking at this tonight, there'll be overlap of terms. Many of the terms will be the same. Vein names, artery names will be the same thing. All right, so let's have a look. So we're going to start above the heart. So there is the left ventricle. The left ventricle, coming out of the left ventricle is going to be the aorta, which I'm going to tilt like this. And there we can see the aorta looping. So that forms what is called the aortic arch right there. And then it loops down and continues down. So there we can see the aorta, and then it runs next to. So notice the much bigger inferior vena cava, much smaller aorta. More blood in veins, less blood in arteries. Right? So aortic arch, aorta. All right? So now we're above the heart. And again, the two diagrams, folks, aortic arch right there, which if you want to label that better, you can. And then coming off the aortic arch are two big arteries right there. The first one is the brachiocephalic artery, which is this one right here. And the second one is the left subclavian, which is that one right there. Right? Now we come back to the brachiocephalic artery right here. Let me put this in here. So we come here, there's the brachiocephalic artery right there, folks, and what do we see? We see 1, 2, 3 branches. 1, 2, 3 branches. 1, 2, 3 branches.
I'm gonna need to do that. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Now on the lab exam, what will happen is, because I'll have several cats, for the arteries, notice the arteries are behind, they're deeper than the veins. So with this right here, I have a cat down there, so this will be open so you can see this clear. Here I'm just moving, I'm working around the veins. So what do we see here, folks? So there's my brachiocephalic artery right there. And there we've got the 3 branches that comes off it. So I'm going to work from left to right. On the left-hand side right there, next to the trachea. So on the left-hand side of the trachea, there is the far left branch. And that is called the left common carotid artery. The left common carotid artery. The middle branch right there is the right common carotid artery. And notice the carotids lie on either side of what tube right there?
Trachea.
The trachea. So 2 carotid arteries. So the carotid artery is synonymous with the jugular veins. External jugular carotid artery. Why not the same names? I don't know. But they will be synonymous. Then, ladies and gentlemen, please note, on my carotid artery, there we see that cream thread. And that cream thread right there is a branch of the vagus nerve. So there you can see it right there. So carotid artery, vagus nerve right there. Alright? So left carotid artery, right carotid artery, right subclavian. So there's the right subclavian right there.
Is the vagus on the left or the right?
Both sides.
Okay.
So have a look. There's my right carotid artery. There's the right vagus right there. There's my left
Oh, so it's
carotid
okay, it's on
artery.
both sides of
Remember, there's always going to be pairs, right?
Right.
Left and right
Yeah.
side. So there is the left valgus right there. Okay? All right, folks. So brachiocephalic and 3 branches. Left, right carotid artery, right subclavian. So now I'm going to go over there. So notice I'm just stopping there. So now we go over here, and there is the left subclavian artery right there. Now notice right here, because we sit nice, and again I work on the left hand side. So there's the left subclavian. I move the vein out of the way like that, and there we see the same artery running next to the vein right there. I move the brachial plexus out of the way, and there we see the vein and the artery running right next to one another. Right? So last time we looked at the vein, we said that this was the subclavian vein and running next to the subclavian artery. Then folks, when we got into the armpit area over there, that was the axillary vein. So what is the artery now going to be likewise? Axillary artery. Then we are in the upper arm right there, and we call that the brachial vein last time, and there now next to it is the brachial artery. And then there we've got the radial vein, and there we see the much smaller lumen radial artery. So there we see subclavian, axillary, brachial, radial. Right? Does anybody have the veins? Do you have the veins here?
No, it's me.
No.
Okay,
back
let's
side.
do that. I'll just do that there.
You can just turn it over, I think.
There, so
Yeah, you can turn it over.
so what you want to do, Matthew, just take it out. So just take that out, take the veins out, and just put it next to it. Just pull the sheet
I see
out.
what you're saying.
So folks, there we go. Thank you, sir. So there is, so there we see right there with the veins last time, subclavian, axillary, brachial, radial vein. Tonight, subclavian, axillary, brachial, radial artery. Same names, same names. Last time we had looked at the vein that came off the subclavian, and that was called the subscapular vein right there. And tonight there we have the artery that comes off right there next to it. Diana, let me open this up so you can see that. So there's the subscapular vein, and there's the subscapular artery.
Okay.
Same names, same names. Pink artery, blue for vein. All right? So those are the arteries and the veins above the heart. And a lot of the names are the same. Okay? Then as with the veins, folks, when we loop here in the rest of the thoracic cavity, right there, because there's the diaphragm, let's pull the diaphragm right there, thoracic cavity, there are no branches that comes off the aorta, no branches. Then we look for the diaphragm, and here's the diaphragm, and again, like I said last time, this cat, the diaphragm has been cut away. So once we pass the diaphragm, we're going to look for 2 arteries. So there are the 2 arteries, right? So now I put it there because now it's not quite the same. So the 2 arteries that come off, there's the aorta. So there's my diaphragm is going to be about here. So once I pass the diaphragm, I'm looking for those 2 arteries. The first one is called the celiac artery right there. So there's the celiac artery right there. Okay? Celiac. Can you see?
Yes.
Ladies, you seeing okay? Celiac artery right there. The second one is called the superior mesentery or mesenteric. Mesentery is noun, mesenteric is adjective. Right? So celiac is the first one. The second one right next to it is the superior mesentery. So 1, 2. There are 2 next to one another. We see it right there. Now we come back to the celiac. And what do we see, folks? We see, and this is a big cat, so we can see this really nicely. 1, 2, 3 branches that comes off the celiac. And there you see it right there. Right? The first one goes under the stomach to the liver. Now, roots of words for the liver, please. Hepato pertains to the liver. Hepato pertains to the liver. So there is the hepatic artery right there. So this is a big cat, like I said, and we actually see that nicely. So the hepatic artery right there, goes to the liver. There's the liver. The second is going to the stomach, and what is a root of the word that pertains to stomach? Gastro, and there's the gastric artery. There's the stomach. And then the third one runs to the spleen, right? There's the spleen. So notice next to one another, liver, stomach, spleen. They are the three arteries: hepatic artery, gastric artery, splenic artery. Right? Okay, so I'm just going to turn this around so they can see that. So you can just freeze there. So there, folks, you turn around.